As predicted, the drought triggered widespread range and forest fires in Idaho last summer, but none was as devastating to wildlife as the Boise foothills fire. Although there were animals lost in the fire, mainly bird species such as wild turkeys and forest grouse, it wasn't the fire itself that was so damaging to wildlife. It's what little was left behind. Wildlife managers often use fire as a tool. A burn area can leave what scientists call a mosaic pattern, a stretch of land like this that combines mature timber stands with pockets of fresh green grasses and shrubs, rich in nutrition. This fire created healthy habitat for deer and elk. But when an area burns too hot, all the plant life is destroyed, and even the islands of habitat that usually tend to survive a cooler fire go literally up in smoke. Last summer, the nation's largest wildfire of the season raged northeast of Boise, burning 257,000 acres of land. When the flames retreated, it was evident that the fire had burned hot, ravaging miles of critical wintering habitat for deer and elk.
And if you look back up in here, most of this is dead. Some of that may resprout, but most of it's gone. There's just skeletons now, and there's even the stuff that looks like it's still alive, it's probably going to die anyway. But
Fish and game biologist Jerry Schulten is in charge of the Boise River Wildlife Management Area, a 32,000-acre tract of land in the midst of the burned area.
we've got about 1,500 deer that are going to come down in here this winter, and there's really nothing left for them to eat, especially if we have snow cover like we have today.
This is just a portion of the winter range that burned, habitat that wildlife depends on. About 10,000 deer and 1,000 head of elk will find little to eat in their traditional wintering grounds this year in the Boise foothills. A potential crisis that has wildlife managers preparing for the worst.
It's going to depend on how much snow comes in, how cold it gets, whether the animals are going to relocate. We didn't get a lot of green up this fall. We did get some. If those areas are available to the animals, some of them could survive. We have reduced the population somewhat in here, so it could help.
Hunting is another tool biologists use to manage wildlife populations. For the first time in almost 20 years, Fish and Game authorized a special archery hunt in the Boise foothills. It has a twofold purpose: to remove some of these animals that are facing possible starvation this winter, and to push the majority away from homes and highways and into better habitat.
We're going to give you some maps of the hunt area.
Each bow hunter drawing a permit is required to attend an orientation course covering bow hunting skills, travel restrictions, and hunter ethics.
You're also going to be the ambassadors for hunting. And that's the reason that we want you here. We want this to be a quality hunt.
The quality of a hunt can be measured with many different yardsticks. For father and son team Larry and Blake Fisher, the most important measurement is the time spent together.
It's really nice spending time with your dad, because most of the time he's either working or all that other stuff that he has to do, and it's really nice being out here with him, just him and me, and I really enjoy it.
There's a group of them down over here, but we'd have to go clear around and get on them. At this point, they're in every pocket, so. This hunt's really nice because it's close to town, and with Blake still in high school, we're able to slip up here and, more than if we had, to go 100 miles. So it makes this hunt really special, being close. Out kind of just working a ridge just the same way we are.
Bow hunting, especially in terrain like this, requires preparation, patience, and perseverance.
Yeah, this is great. This is what we all pray for in the late hunt, is fresh snow. So you're miserable and it's cold. And all late hunts are tough, but there's just something special about being able to sneak around in the snow and see lots of animals. And hey, there's, this time of year with the bucks following the does in the rut, you see some gigantic bucks, and there's always a possibility. You can't give up hope.
One of the challenges of bow hunting is stalking the animal. A hunter must get within at least 30 yards before shooting.
Sometimes you see a big buck and you get all excited and you can't wait to sneak up on him. And big bucks give you patience, keep you slow down and sneaky.
But today, The elements are working against father and son. Crosswinds and a crunchy crust underfoot alert the deer, and they move away through the falling snow like silent ghosts. Responsible hunters like Larry and Blake treasure the tradition of the sport and the romance of stalking a wild animal with a primitive weapon. For this family, maintaining ethical hunting standards is as important as the hunt itself.
It's important because you're there and your actions speak louder than words anytime you do anything. So, yeah, it's important.
I check your hunting license and permit.
Sure.
License.
You guys have any luck today?
Perhaps not today, but maybe tomorrow. On this hunt, time is measured by moments treasured, the companionship of a son who has grown into a friend, and a shared appreciation for Idaho's wildlife world.
I probably learned everything I know from my dad about bow hunting. He taught me how to shoot one. He taught me how to sneak up on animals. He taught me how to be quiet, you know. Taught me how to stay warm. Everything I learned from my dad.
Aerial seeding is the first step to restoring the area burned by the Foothills fire. A coalition of state and federal agencies, along with extraordinary support from private groups, has begun the arduous task of replanting miles of habitat. A big bucket is suspended beneath the belly of each helicopter. It's loaded with seed and sent off to spit its cargo over the blackened areas now blanketed in snow. Weather will be the key. If we have spring flooding and torrential rains, the bare hillsides will wash away and erosion will take a terrible toll. But biologist Jerry Schulten is hoping for a different scenario.
We're in the 7th year of drought, so we need moisture real bad. But we need gentle rains that are able to go down into the soil, or snowpack that melts slowly, that goes into the soil. The grasses will come back, there's no problem with that, but the shrub component I don't think will without some help from us.
Volunteers have heeded the call for help. About 45 people turned out on this sunny Saturday to gather sagebrush seeds.
You just take your tennis racket and hit it, and you see the seed coming off. We need tons, literally, of sagebrush seed, and we want to not only put this seed out on the ground this winter, but we want to start collecting seed and start making a seed bank, so that if we have a disaster like this again, we have some seed that we can put out right away.
It's a big job, one that would be impossible without volunteers.
These people are really here to work. You can see them out here on the hillside really going at it, yeah. That's some dedicated people in Idaho.
Take all that weight off you there.
Yeah.
It's amazing how heavy it gets, how fast, doesn't it? Just that little jag.
The things that we accomplish with volunteers, we simply couldn't do without their help.
They need volunteers. And I'm studying wildlife resources, and I just like to help the land. I like being outdoors. It's a great country.
They really care, and they feel like they can make a difference, and they do. I think that's what's neat. People realize that as individuals, they can make a difference.
And you can bet, as Fish and Game keeps a careful watch on wintering deer and elk through this critical season, there will be a whole crew of folks who will gladly give of their time and talents when called. A tribute to the people of Idaho and our extraordinary wildlife heritage.